Wrong button. Oof. Fuck. Alright. FF15 rating video. Let's go. And I just realized I don't have my thing. What? That sucks. Okay, get there. There we go. So you probably saw a bit of my thing. Oof. Anywho. Final Fantasy 15. Ended up how I expected it to. +8 to story, plus -7 to gameplay, which brings us to a +1. I'm not too worried about that. I'm not too worried about it. It was a good game. Could have been better, but you know what? Could have been a fuck of a lot worse. Which is funny because this is the best Fabula Nova Crystal Iris game. Which it accomplished by divorcing itself from the Fabula Nova Crystal Iris saga. And that is really loud in my ear, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. I'm going to turn that down on the gain there. Anywho, 7 sessions, no cheats. Let's get into the positives, story positives, shall we? Single brickwork positive, because I do think there's some good brickwork. I gave 2 sprite work positives. I gave 1 animations positive, mostly because I don't think the animations are that strong in this one, but they are good all the same. So, that works. I just realized I should have waited until I got my laptop for this. Just now that I'm thinking about it. Oh well, whatever. This will be the last video I record with this computer. Yes, I am recording this on the day when I am going to get a laptop. That will actually start with YouTube will see that starting whenever the next video day is. Which will be, of course, the next VOD go live. Anywho, because obviously I recorded with this webcam, I should ask Steve if I can keep this webcam now that I'm thinking about it. Because I'd like to compare and contrast. Anyway, sorry, way off topic. Way off topic here. My apologies. Let's continue. Good doodad usage. The lore runner did say he thought the doodad usage was lacking in the dungeons. I don't care about doodad usage in the dungeons. It's the towns that I care about the doodad usage, because that tells me a lot more about about the cities I'm going to. The dungeons are whatever, right? I'm not gonna get hung up on the little details. Now, I know that doodads in a dungeon can actually help tell a story, but I'm not gonna ding a game for that, you know? I gave a positive to good visual storytelling, because when it's there, it's cool. When it's not, it's kind of painful. So shrug, you know? I did give the voice acting a triple positive. This is some of the best voice acting the franchise has ever had. And fight me. And I mean that sincerely. The voice acting has been really, really good. They got good voice actors. They had good voice, they performed well. The voice direction is a little all over the place. That's why I didn't give it a positive. But at the same time, I did go ahead and give a positive to Ray Chase as Noctis. Broken down, okay. And Darren DePaul as Arden, which is funny because recently the lore runner did his stream. From my perspective, he did his Doom 2016 review, and Darren DePaul is in that, and he listed off a bunch of credits that Darren DePaul has done. It's a pretty strong list. Seriously, you should go look it up sometime. Hey, man, it's fascinating seeing that list. And Hammerhead is fine. Okay. So, speaking of the dialogue, though, speaking of voice acting, there was good dialogue for the characters to say. So that helped. Banter was a triple positive, as was NPC chatter. See, what's funny about me is I'm not usually one to care about NPC chatter all that much, but the Trail series really started to make me appreciate NPCs. He's chatting amongst themselves, and you kind of build up the world through that, right? You know, it's the slice of life concept, right? Speaking of which, this is a good localization. I will not be hearing to the contrary. This is a good localization. Period. Not multiple positives worthy, but this is definitely a good localization. Gameplay story integration was worth 2 positives in my opinion. Music direction. Good use of the music, so that's good. There was some good consequence storytelling as things actually were impacted, even if I don't agree with some of them. Like a certain thing that everybody's gonna fucking hate is in the negatives, but I stand behind it being in the negatives because it's literally just used for fake fucking drama. I'm sorry. Harry, thanks for that, Gladios. You fucking fake drama. You fucking drama queen. Fuck. Anyways. That should give away my opinion there. Anyways, good storyboarding. Good use of atmosphere and tone. 25 presentation positives. Not bad. We've seen better, but we've seen way worse. I gave Noctis, so now we're into the characters. I gave Noctis 2 positives, I gave Prompto 2 positives, and I gave Ignis 2 positives. As it is. I know what everybody's gonna think. I'm just giving this positive because boobs, but Cindy is actually a good character in spite of her character design. Yes, I know she's got the stupid sexy mechanic, like she's literally she's literally like 2 seconds away from fucking pulling down her short shorts and getting rammed by a Noctis and or Prompto, but like that's the character design, which is just you know. And now for a character that if Gladio had it, as long as Gladio has anything to say about it, will never be rammed by any man because Gladio follows the Rean Schwarzer school of being a fucking big brother. Iris. I think Iris is kind of awesome in all the ways that Gladio just isn't. She's the supportive sibling, which Gladio tries to be and royally fucking fails at. With the expansions on his character that the DLC provides, I actually thought Core was really good. In the main game, I thought he was just there, but then they expand him in the episode Gladios DLC, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to go ahead and give you a positive. I liked RNA in the main campaign, and then episode Prompto happened and gave her a second positive. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think RNA is the waifu of this game. And no, not just because of my propensity for women that can kick my ass. Yes, I genuinely feel she is a good character. And always will. So, this is another point that the lore... So now that's all the character positives. Now let's get into the core content of the story. This is one where me and the lore runner differ. I chopped the intro at the end of chapter 1, and I actually think the intro is decent. I think it sets up the world and the threat decently well. Hell, he does not. We differ. Big shock. One way we don't differ, though, is we both find Altissa to be a fascinating place. Yes. For me, it's the wonderful detailed scenery, and then for him, it's like just everything to do with Altissa. So, cool. Then there's the truck ride with Talcott, which is honestly a great bit of banter and a good way to fill in the 10-year gap. Oof, is all I gotta say to that. Yeah, there really wasn't a lot of individual positives that I gave to the story, because this story is fine for the most part. There's nothing wrong with this story, but there's nothing really to get me excited about this story. So if you're wondering what the hell is up with that, that's why. It wasn't really until it wasn't until I encountered Altissa, and then the and then between Altissa and literally the time skip, that's how far it was before I gave another positive. Then there's the whole thing, and then in between that truck ride and the end, literally there was no positives until you chose the picture that appears in the final cutscene. That is just wonderfully wholesome and awesome. I actually thought Arden's end was satisfying, both in terms of when now you can rest and defeating his curse. Both were satisfying. Enough for one positive. This is one I added after the Do I Agree With list for the Lore Runner, the final campfire scene. I admit, yeah, that is a good scene the more I think about it. I just didn't immediately think it was, a scene I had to give a positive to, Maybe I'm just an asshole. Well, but I caved in the end, so I think that says at least something, Then we get into the DLC positives. It was the banter between Gladio and Core. Or has some great characterization for Core. Prompto's breakdown during his DLC is just heartbreaking, and its impact is devastating in all the right ways. I also like the resolve that he shows at the end of his DLC. That was good. And, okay, this might be a little goofy, but I just had to give a positive to Arden singing the fanfare at the end of Prompto's DLC. Because for those that haven't played episode Prompto, it literally ends with Arden kind of kneeling and overlooking Prompto at the end of his DLC, and I'm pretty sure he gets the last line, and it's literally him going bum 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 bum. He's literally quietly sings the Final Fantasy victory fanfare. That I had to give a positive to, because it was just, it's so goofy and dumb, but it's the kind of goofy and dumb that I just eat up, and Aaron DePaul just does it perfectly. So, there you go. Then we move on to episode Ignis, where the only things I liked was Ignis using the Ring of the Lucii, and the alternate route for the Ignis DLC. Hey. Then I gave two positives to Arden's DLC, a separate brickwork positive because man, that was some good stuff, and the excellent use of Limblom effect in the DLC. We'll get to that in the negatives. So 52 story negatives. Wow, 52 story positives overall. You can tell I've just gotten out of the fucking Crystal Phalanx saga. If I'm tripping up that goddamn much. Now let's get into the negatives. The flash forward with Ifrit at the beginning of the game. Bullshit and pointless. The banter is way too easy to unintentionally skip, and it's bad. I probably should have given more, but I'm just going to give one. No, I'll leave it. Because to be honest with you, a lot of the super skippable banter is just kind of flavor shit that is just kind of meh, you know? Now, if it was really, really good stuff that you were skipping, then I'd be pissed. The hunts really don't add much into the lore of the setting. This is an FF12, which sucks. That song was Wanderlust. Good music. Music, just not to spoil, one of my gameplay positives, but yeah, good music. This song I heard a little too often, Encroaching Fear. This is the enemies are nearby music. So this is where some of the presentation started getting started taking it up the ass. Well, it's nowhere near as bad as in the 13s, like nowhere near. I did end up giving 3 story sequencing negatives, 2 pacing negatives, and 2 world building negatives. Because the pacing is atrocious. The story sequencing is god tier levels of just awful. That's the one that's the closest to being as bad as the 13 trilogy. And the world building is just audio balancing issues. It's all over the place, but the example that basically cemented it did no really. I need to put this on put this as a separate negative. Am I still here? Yes, I am. And I'm still recording. Okay. But what made me have to put this one on the list was it was literally the one at the end where Noct is just like, what can I say? You guys, pause, are the best. Credits blast. It's the music. Credits music blasting. It's like, oh my god, dude. Good. The audio issues are just all over the place, so I'm pretty sure I gave some negatives to the DLCs for this too. Because again, I really find the balancing to be just not. You have to balance your audio properly. Otherwise it just sounds awful. Also, I will go ahead and say, hey, this is the negative I was referring to earlier for Lindblom effect, because this world feels way too empty even before the Star Scourge. The Eternal Darkness thing. Also, most will disagree here, but I feel but to me, the camera feels drunk most of the time in most of the non-pre-rendered scenes. This kind of happened in 13.2 as well, when Sarah and Noel will get shoved around in certain scenes. Well, it kind of happens here in 15, but to a lesser extent. But it still feels like the camera's just in weird places in way too many scenes, and it's awful. The main plot here, weak sauce. It is a badly presented, weak sauce plot, blech. With the Star Scourge being at the center of it and being extremely badly handled. The Star Scourge is at the center of the plot, and it is badly handled. So, there you go. And there are honestly several things that feel like they should be here, even if only in a data log, and there just isn't. In other words, there's context missing, even if it was in a data log. Now, yes, I blasted FF13-1 specifically for, oh, you don't understand this? Look it up in the data log. But I feel like 15 almost feels like it has the exact opposite problem of 13. Where it feels like there should be a data log to help fill in some of the gaps, and there isn't, because everybody was all, data log, ew! And so they left it out, which was just Huh? Also, double negative for padding. I gave a negative for plot contrivances just being all over the place in this game. Holy crap. Yep. Arden's powers being the biggest culprit there. There, like just straight up the biggest problem there. There's some really bad internal continuity, which I ended up giving a double negative to. There's also bad use of themes, as it feels like the game is confused on what it wants to say. And yes, episode Arden can be thanked for that, because oh my god, it is that all over the fucking place. Because Arden getting cursed by the gods and he's gone fucking totally insane, that'd be one thing, but they try to pin they try to pin it all on Arden's brother Somnus, then they try to frickin' say that it was always his fate, and it just rings so fucking hollow. Just have a guy rebelling against the gods because he's pissy that his wife had to die for stupid reasons. Which she did. "23 presentation negatives." Now onto the characters. This one's going to be pretty short because there's literally only 3 characters that actually pissed me off in this one. And one was a single, one was a double, and one was a triple. Let's start with the triple, Gladius. At best, he is boring. And as absolute worst, he is an unnecessarily hostile drama queen, and I fucking hate it. He is literally, the lore runner said in his review, in his second review, that Gladio is a drama for drama's sake character, and that is so fucking true. He is fake drama the character. Even more so than that jackass I gave a negative to in Tales of Arise. You know, the one that was going to make Shion stay in the fireplace. You know, the fire country. So fucking stupid. Then there's Ravis. He is a giant nothing burger, and the fact of the matter is Luna's brother joining the frickin' bad guys as an entire story in and of itself, and they just skip over it. That is the stupidest fucking thing they could have done. Why the hell is he joining the bad guys who are trying to kill his sister? If he actually gives a fuck about his sister? And the whole jealousy of the whole fucking I don't like Noct thing just made it even fucking worse. And it pisses me off. Hell, you could have literally had Ravis be a rival of Noct. Like, have it be that all over the course of the game, he periodically challenges Noct to a battle, and we had, in order to prove that he's getting stronger, prove that he's getting better. But no, instead we just have him be a hostile moron for no fucking reason. And the DLCs really fucked him over hard. Hurt, in my opinion. Because I don't understand why the hell he joined the bad guys. Other than, I'm an evil dumb fuck. Like, that's literally the only reason I can fathom. Then there's Luna Freya, who honestly is a giant plot hole, and that robs her of being a good character. You know? Or excuse me, she is a giant plot device, and that robs her of being a good character at best, and makes her a walking plot hole at worst. So now we get into the moments. Jared's death. The random old guy from the town where we go and meet up with Iris. Yeah, his death was just kind of what? It was tepid at best. Yes, you know. It was tepid at best. It was just, it was just, yeah. off-screen, comes right the hell out of nowhere, and Gladio being a dick during the scene was just, yeah, not good. So, Leviathan is antagonistic to Luna. Why? I get that the Crystal Phalanx Saga's crap is supposed to be the deities are dicks. Why was that part not rewritten? Give me deities that actually give a fuck about their people. Instead of this fucking nonsense. They can troll their fucking retainers, helpers, whatever you want to call them, but don't make them fucking dicks. Because then that just fucks up the story and makes the deities look like the real fucking villains. Case in point, this game. Because again, if Bahamut hadn't cursed Arden, none of this would have happened. Thanks, Arden, thanks, Bahamut, you fucking prick. And yes, I am still refusing to call him Bahamut. Maybe I should, but no, I'm pronouncing it Bahamut because Bahamut may be more accurate, but it sounds really fucking stupid. Then we have a triple negative for Arden killing Luna. It's tepid at best, and it fridges Luna at worst. I feel like it's unnecessary just to justify what happens to Noct at the end. To justify, well, he doesn't have his woman anymore, I guess he can make that uber sacrifice at the end. Fucking bite me. Hate me. Let Lucius have have a queen, be ruled by a queen. I get that the whole idea is that the Lucius bloodline was supposed to end, but come on. Then there's Gladio's hostility on the train right after all the Luna death and everything, and which is just this is this is it's been a few weeks, and Noctis is still kind of reeling from all that happened in Altissa. So Gladio tries to do a pep talk, but instead of it being like, look, I know you're hurting, but we have a job to do, it's, man up, you fucking coward, you're a piece of shit. That, just remembering that pissed me off so hard. That I don't even know what all happened there. I scrolled up, I did something, and now I scrolled too far. Sorry, give me a second. I really fucking hate Gladio in this game. Hey, can you tell? Now for the one that everybody's gonna completely disagree with me on. I don't like Ignis's blindness. We'll do here. Ignis being blind just feels like drama for drama's sake. That's not that good of a one either. Good enough. Ignis being blind just feels like an excuse for Gladio to be a fucking dick, and I hate it. Never mind the fact that I absolutely hate the fucking section where we get berated for running ahead because we have to wait for Ignis. Fuck off. Then there's the 10-year time skip. Yep, which is done just freaking cuz, and it's kind of annoying. Never mind how absolutely minuscule the changes to Ignis, Gladio, and Prompto's character models are. Like, Jesus. There are changes, but it's so minor that it's like, why bother with a time skip? Other than to have Telcott be all grown up. Ugh. Then I gave a triple negative to the whole need for Noctis to sacrifice himself. That's another because plot thing, and I kind of hate it. So, yeah. Screw that plot point. Right. Oh, I guess that was a triple negative for the outro because of the whole need to sacrifice himself. Then we get into the DLCs. The dialogue is drowned out by the music during Prompto's DLC. Ravis is annoyingly boring in the Ignis DLC. Ravis's rage makes sense right up until the point that he opens his big fat fucking mouth. And starts contradicting everything. And the whole of Arden's DLC just compounds the dickish deities trope, and frankly, I despise it. It just makes Arden a victim of fate, and to me, that's boring. 44 story negatives. Now let's get into the gameplay. As I alluded to earlier, the music is by Yoko Shinomura, and it delivers. And she delivers on this OST, which honestly is just not a surprise. Kingdom Hearts, how you doing? There's some good autosaves, some decent options, some good tutorials. I like the HUD. There's some good quality of life. The info in game, I think, is well handled for like the gameplay elements. The story elements might be lacking when it comes to info in game, but when it comes to actually playing the game tells you what you need to know. So that's good. Good. The bestiary is good. I really like Warp Strike. Warp Strike is fun as hell. Little triple positive there. The ability to use the royal arms when they are not equipped. That's the Armitage ability. Jedi mode, as we ended up calling it on the stream. Jedi mode is awesome. Also, I think a positive for Kit with the techniques and elements he is warranted. I gave 2 core combat positives because I do actually think the core combat is kind of fun. Some people have said, oh, it's boring because you just hold the button. I'd rather hold the button than mash the button. And I mean that sincerely. I think the power progression curve is solid. I think the weapon variety is really good. There's the DLCs offer some good gameplay variety. I like the spell effects. I think the ally AI is actually pretty good. Cooking has benefits, so I gave that 2 positives. I like the auto regen. And look, I don't care what elitists say about regenerating health. If it fits within the game that if you can make it work within the game you're playing, that's fine, right? I don't really want regenerating health in a Doom game, and I kind of tolerate it in a Call of Duty game, but something here where it's just outside of combat, you kind of recover your HP, that's kind of a neat little idea. There's taking all the photos, that's just fun as hell. I like the regalia as a mode of transportation. Fast travel to the car in the last rest stop, that was honestly welcome. It made travel less tedious. And I like the enemy variety. 30 presentation positives to gameplay. Now into the individual stuff. I thought the intro was a good introduction to the gameplay's flow. I gave the boss fight against Aranea 2 positives. Bandersnatch, despite his ridiculous 75,000 HP, he was a fun and frantic fight, so I like that. The train sequence. This is when you're hopping through the different airships to protect the train. This is when you were protecting the train. That was pretty cool. I thought the fight with Ifrit was cathartic. Some people find it boring because it takes too long. No, it was cathartic to actually be able to frickin' win without cheap bullshit. And Ifrit didn't really throw cheap bullshit at me. We'll get to his doggy cousin in the negatives. Despite my irritation, the fight with the Fierce was pretty cool. I liked fighting the Rogue, especially when Prompto takes over. And the Mystic is my pick for the best boss in the game. As it may be a toss-up between this or the Arden fight, and they may flip-flop in which one I prefer, but I do like the fight with the Mystic. That was good. I also liked you got to choose the picture that appears in the final cutscene, so that was cool. I liked the final battle against Arden. I know it's hold button to win, but you know what? After all of the bullshit the game has been fucking throwing at you, especially in this outro, that is just fucking cathartic. I also gave the outro on the gameplay axis a triple positive. I'm pretty sure I gave it a triple negative as well, but yeah. The chapter select version of New Game Plus, that was kind of cool. I gave the multiplayer comrades a single positive and just left it alone. Also, I have to ask, why make it a standalone? So then we get into the DLCs. The core combat in episode Gladios was fun as hell. And I liked using the columns. And I thought episode Gladios had some pretty honestly good itemization. And then the Gladio versus Gilgamesh-ish fight was pretty fun. I like the itemization in episode Prompto. I like fighting Immortalis with the turret. Okay, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Oh, it's a turret section, it sucks. That was fucking cathartic to take that thing down. I like turret sections. I like mowing down my enemies. And I'll admit, Ignis' spell daggers are damn fun to use, and honestly, the whole time he's using the Ring of the Luci, that was just freaking a great Hyper Beam moment. 59 in gameplay positives. Unfortunately, though, that means we have to execute Order 66 and get into the gameplay negatives. Traveling on foot sucks. And I find the movement controls so fucking wonky in this one that they were a triple negative. And that makes traveling on foot all the worse. The game is also plagued by invisible walls that make zero sense. Hence, this is also one of the fucking worst cameras I've ever encountered. It's so finicky that motion sickness is actually a real possibility. Triple negative. Side quests are giant snooze fests, with most of them being fetch quests. I hate the difficulty curve, it's a triple negative. I find the dungeon design to be a triple negative, the encounter design to be a triple negative, and the trash HP to be a triple negative, as well as the status effect fetish, because Jesus Christ, especially later on in the game, the enemies just love pulling status effect garbage on you. I really hate the railroading in this one. And because there's too many times where it'll railroad you into doing something, and it's because Ignis has to pull you aside and be like, hey, you should avoid getting spotted during this stealth section, or there's a strong monster up ahead. No fucking duh, quit holding my hand, let me go fucking play the game. You fucking moron. Gameplay pacing was a triple negative. The game is padded to hell and back for another triple negative. The interface is fine at first, but then it gets more and more annoying to deal with as the game goes on, and to be honest with you. I also find the open world aspect of the game to be boring with very little to do in it. And traversal is just boring as fuck. I hate the ice dungeon. I think it sucks. It's easy to fuck up the maze, the encounters suck ass, and you have to fight an irritating battle at the end. Speaking of which, the mandatory Mind Flayer fight can go fuck its... in the aforementioned ice dungeon. Can go fuck itself. Triple negative for that. I don't like the Titan boss fight. It's way too boring. Some people may find it epic. I've just found it boring. I also hate the import on the way to Ramu. And summons... The way the summons are handled are just boring. They are these big mega attacks, but the game gets to decide. The game decides when you're allowed to summon and when you're not, instead of it just being a move you can execute. You know. Can't believe I'm saying this, but come back. Come back. FF10 and FF13 summon systems. God. Then there's the forced stealth section when recovering the regalia. That's annoying as crap. I hate fighting Malboro in this one. And especially considering it's immortal until you do a scripted event. Ugh. Chapter 13. Oh god, Chapter 13. Okay, here we go. So, first of all, it takes a left turn into horror, which sucks. And it's nothing but jump scares. Oh, and the player has no access to their weapons. And I gotta wrap this up, so, you don't have access to your weapons because plot. There's way too much padding, and yeah, Chapter 13 as a whole, 2 negatives. Then you combine that with the double negative I gave for Zegnatius as a dungeon itself, because oh my god, I hate that place. And then I gave the jump scares a separate negative. I hated that dungeon's encounter design, and the fact that Arden just won't shut the hell up is a recipe for disaster. Then there's the Ravis boss fight at the end, which can just burn in hell with its cheap bullshit. Triple negative there. I don't like fighting Tomberries, especially when Noct is ambushed by 3 of them in Chapter 14. I hated fighting Cerberus, and I felt the outro was a triple positive, triple negative fair because of a lot of the difficulty spikes in god-awful boss fights. So, yeah. 5 more negatives. Let's get it through this. Fuck everything to do with the boat section of Chapter 1 of Episode Ignis. I hate swimming to the altar. That is a pain in the ass. The encounter design in Episode Ignis just pissed me off completely. And fighting Evis in Episode Ignis was a double negative. I didn't like Episode Ignis from a gameplay perspective. Can you tell? Anywho, that's it. And I accidentally opened Discord. Son of a bitch. Anywho, that is it. That is FF15. This is a decent... And this is a decent game. But to be honest with you, it's not the blockbuster that some people make it out to be. And it's honestly it's kind of just okay. Now, next up on the chopping block is Monster Hunter Stories 1, and we'll see how that fares next time. So until next time, Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers signing out. I got shit to go do. See you later.